This is a story where the whole world was given the option to play a tutorial. We follow Lee Ho Jae, who we will be calling Lee or Ho Jae. We see Ho Jae whistling as he monologues his life. You see, life is a succession of choices. While some of those choices will lead to success, some lead directly to despair. Lee Ho Jae chose the latter, the path that has nothing but endless despair and extreme challenges, the hell difficulty. The reason he was trapped in this world was because of the stupid decision he made. The streets are completely empty, even the bar he walks into is completely empty. He throws a coin over the counter, a drink and a glass cup spawns in. He says, "Community," and a screen appears right in front of him. In 10 minutes, new players will join the tutorial. Hell difficulty only has one survivor, Lee Ho Jae. He is waiting for the next session, where possible hell difficulty players may join and aid him. Ho Jae gets made fun of for being the only hell difficulty player by the community. Lee Ho Jae is a player from the first ever session. He came into the tutorial without knowing anything and he had to learn everything by himself. He also chose the hell difficulty, which has a survival rate of 0.01%. There's no way anyone is going to be so moronic that they'll pick the hell difficulty, especially now that the outside world knows about the tutorial. The session starts and, can we just talk about that cup on the side? It looks dumb as hell. Anyway, the community 81st session begins and there is actually one new hell difficulty player. The person starts using the community board right off the boat and they say that they misclicked. Just wow, how do you even make that mistake? Anyway, everyone clowns them. I mean, I don't blame them. We see the person, it's a blue-haired girl. Ho Jae slides in her DMs and tells her not to be scared. She asks who he is and he introduces himself as the only hell difficulty survivor. He asks her to follow his instructions, so that she can climb the floors and not die. He needs her help so that he can clear the 61st floor. We find out her starting weapon is a bow. Now, the bow is pretty trash if you're not a professional archer. Lee Ho Jae is lost in his thought over how fucked they are. The silence is interrupted by the girl saying she chose the bow because she is an Olympic archer. So I guess that solves the problem. Ho Jae explains why the bow is good. They tend to have a high survival rate and they're pretty good. She exclaims a really and he affirms her to not worry about it too much. She asks him if he is the only hell mode survivor. He says yes, but that there are more from other countries. She asks him if he thinks she'll survive. There's a residential area on the 30th floor. He tells her to make that her goal. He is going to explain starting from the very first floor, his memories and how he was dragged into that world. We even get this iced out image too. We get a closer look into Lee Ho Jae's past. We see him when he first entered the tutorial. He is sweating like hell and fighting for his life. An arrow absolutely reaps through his leg like it's paper. He falls to the ground and is in severe pain. His leg looks horrible and I think he is gonna die from blood loss. A window pops up saying, "You have acquired pain tolerance." Despite that, the sensation is insane and it gets Lee Ho Jae wondering if he is gonna die or not. He has a strings of thoughts. When did it all go wrong? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? It was the day when the window first appeared. It was just another evening for the now retired pro gamer Lee Ho Jae. He was doing what every old man does with their free time, get drunk and watch some TV. Except, he kinda isn't an old man. Anyway, he pretty much regrets retiring at a young age. About 2 years ago, he quit his job as a pro gamer. He used the wealth he accumulated to set up a convenience store and appoint one of the employees as the manager. After that he basically did nothing with his life. At the peak of his career, he was basically Ninja but less cringe. But then eventually, just like Ninja, he fell off. After falling off he retired almost instantly. He faces boredom and mundaneness every day ever since. Just as he is whining over nothing, the news appears. All over the world, the sinkhole phenomena, just as you see here, have occurred simultaneously. The government is working to uncover the cause of these sinkholes and experts are warning that these sinkholes should not be approached. We get an overview of it and not gonna lie, that hole is looking mad enticing. Anyway, Lee Ho Jae is absolutely flabbergasted and is shocked further when a screen appears over him. It congratulates him for being invited to the tutorial world. It asks him if he wants to enter the tutorial world and he agrees. It then gives him 4 options between easy, normal, hard and hell difficulty levels. He gets cocky and makes the worst decision of his life. He picks hell difficulty. He gets transported immediately and is woken up by this Wolf of Wall Street looking guy. He is confused, so they explain to him where he is. This is the lobby on the first floor of the tutorial. They explain to him that it was the messages he saw in the window that transported them all here. As the man is explaining, our MC gets lost in his heads and starts thinking about the girl in the background. The man asks him about everything he knows and Lee Ho Jae tells them about the sinkholes. The blonde guy gets mad and starts yelling at our MC but quickly gets shut away by the suit guy. Lee Ho Jae realizes that he was drunk before, but now he is perfectly fine. In response, suit guy tells him about the super regeneration they get in the tutorial. At least in that room. While still processing what the suit guy told him, the man also tells him about weapons. Just as he is thinking about it, a menu appears right in front of him that then teleports him to a different room. He was quite confused after being teleported but quickly adapted and started making his plans. He compares the room to the starting point of a video game where you have to pick your weapon. He takes note that if this is anything like a game, his starting weapon will produce a huge impact on the rest of his playthrough. He wonders what weapon will be good for him. Well, the first factor he wants to consider is playstyle. He wants something to match his capabilities. He isn't very strong and he doesn't know how strong he is magically, so he decides that the hammer, two-handed axe and the staff aren't gonna be that good for him. He also doesn't know how to use the bow, the only ranged weapon, so he avoids it. He also notes that depending on the objective, some weapons might not be good. Like if he is to fight those people he saw earlier. He says a bow will be the best if he is fighting others. He finally settles on a sword and shield. Which is kinda unfair, cause it's two weapons instead of one. A window pops up with the weapon stats and the weapon is pretty crappy. Little did he know, that they're all horrid. A window appears and inquires if he is sure that is the weapon he wants. He picks yes and gets transported back to the lobby. Mr. Suit Guy asks him if he has chosen his weapon and Ho Jae affirms. Suit Guy is about to explain what all the windows do and the lil thug in the corner tries to press our guy. Mr. Suit Guy interjects and becomes a man's. He then shows Ho Jae what one of the windows does by saying, inventory. Ho Jae does the same and he gets a window too. He compares the experience to a video game. He then teaches him about status window, which Lee Ho Jae says, and he sees his stats. It turns out he is very weak like he thought, but he is also very magically gifted unlike what he perceived initially. The next window they went over is community. Our MC says it and another window appears before him. He sees a bunch of lobbies. These lobbies are divided by their difficulty. The Hell difficulty only has 4 members. This disheartens Lee Ho Jae, but Suit Guy being a leader tries to cheer up the mood. He asks everyone to get along. They agree meekly and he proceeds to teach our MC the last window. The clock. It shows the time until the first round of the tutorial. It says there's a little under 3 days left. He deduces that the only reason there would be a community window is because this is based on a MMORPG, and these people are his teammates. He tries to start up a conversion with them since they're his teammates. He tries to start a conversation by asking all of them to introduce themselves. The thug tries to be stubborn but Mr. Suit Guy interjects and goes first. His name is Choi Shik. He is 47 and a typical salaryman. He was also athletic in school, so he is pretty good at physical labor. The lil thug introduces himself. His name is Jo Kyung Min and he questions the point of this. Mr. Suit Guy, I already forger his name, asks for his cooperation and things are about get heated, but Lee Ho Jae jumps in and introduces himself. He is 26 and tells them about his past as a former pro gamer. He leaves out all the embarrassing parts though. The thug guy gets happy as hell when he hears pro gamer. As they continue to be buddy-buddy, the shy girl in the background suddenly screams. She tells them her name. It's Park Soo-ha and she likes animations. She then yaps about some stuff I know you guys don't care about. I mean, even the thug guy confuse. Lee Ho Jae picks up the leader role and tells them that they need to organize the information they've currently got. He says that this is most likely a RPG and that they can pick up weapons and their stats as well. Also, because people are in this world, it's a MMORPG. The thug guy can relate and Lee Ho Jae continues preaching. Since it's a RPG, the most important thing is the party play. They'll need to cooperate with each other based on their weapons. He asks the others to show their weapon and shows his sword and shield. Suit Man shows his spear. I think. Thug guy cheerfully shows his two-handed axe. Ho Jae is like, what the hell, because all 3 of them have close-range weapons. He hopes that the girl isn't using a sword or something. He turns around and oh crap, it's a katana. I think Lee Ho Jae's soul left his body. He wonders how a party could be so unbalanced. Anyway, what exactly is the tutorial? Well, as the thug guy says, the tutorial is the stage where they explain how to play the game. Ho Jae confirms this. Katana Girl doesn't find it amusing, I mean how they have to wait 3 days before it starts. Ho Jae gets to cooking, and tells them they don't have to just sit there and wait. They can train and figure out their roles in the party. He then tells them about their one big weakness. Everyone in their party is a close-range damage dealer. If they were to be attacked at range, they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That is, each weapon has its own strengths and weaknesses. For example, the sword and shield are good on the front line. It can block enemy attacks and attack too, but having 2 weapons are heavy and hard to master. Blondie's axe can deal more damage than Ho Jae's sword, but it's big, heavy, and slow. Regardless, Blondie will now be the damage dealer. Ho Jae and Blondie will be on the front line during battle. Mr. Suit Guy will take the rear because his trident has the furthest range. But you see, Ho Jae damn near forgot about the cutie in the back. When she asks him what her role will be, Ho Jae struggles and makes something up. Ho Jae wants her to be in the back with Suit Guy. Also, I just realized I called his spear a trident. Oh well. Ho Jae gives her that role because it's the safest. This ticks her off and she gives us another paragraph. This time, on how Ho Jae is sexist and women can fight too. Ho Jae wasn't trying to hear all that, and besides he just thought that the ridiculously long katana she is using is pretty impractical. I mean, you can't even swing it with one hand unless you're like a gym rat or something. Suit Guy mediates and tells her to just to follow Mr. Ho Jae because he's got a point on their party dynamic. She backs down and we cut to them training. Katana Girlie is getting into it, she's even calling out the names of her attacks. Blondie tries to give her some advice and she says, you normally need to shout out the skill name to activate it. She then proceeds to use her pierce attack on Mr. Suit Guy. He asks her why it's called pierce and not slash, since it's a katana and you really shouldn't be piercing with a katana. Ho Jae notes down that Katana Girl isn't quite there yet, but the other 2 have gotten the basic forms down. He also realizes 2 more things. While in this lobby, everything regenerates. Not only does that include their health and wounds, it also accounts for weapons and gear. They also don't get hungry, thirsty, or sleepy. This means that they could train pretty hard. While pondering on that thought, he wonders what happens if they were to kill each other. Whether that they'll respawn or not. Suit Guy wants to fight Blonde Guy now. So Katana Girl switched with Blondie. They start fighting like crazy and Katana Girl makes a comment on it. Also comment down below whether you want me to call them by their real names or not. Also while you're at it, don't forget to leave a like. Lee Ho Jae makes a statement on how Blondie or Suit Guy could be a good leader. Katana Gal butts in. But aren't you the leader, Ho Jae Appa? She adds on that he is also very smart for graduating from Seohan University. Ho Jae Appa, Lee Ho Jae tells her about the time that he became a pro gamer and retired. She asks him why he retired. Before he could tell her, Blondie's whining interrupted Ho Jae's bonding time with Katana Girl. Anyway, Riz Ho Jae finishes up the convo and we get a tiny time skip. It is now 10 seconds before the first trial and the gang gets ready. They all say their surprisingly not very corny one-liners. Except Katana Girl, she just gives a wholesome smile. The portals appear, but they're 4. This means they most likely have to do the first round solo. They think that their training was all for waste. Now note how I didn't mention whether Lee Ho Jae made a corny one-liner or not. I didn't because now of all times, he decided to give the corniest and longest not even a one line you could ask for. Everyone, until now I always thought playing games on my own was more practical, and that I preferred solo plays. But the last 3 days have been enjoyable, and for the first time in a while, I thought that party play was fun. Yes, I had quote all of that for you guys. If I have to hear this, then you guys also have to hear this. Anyway, they all give their goodbyes and we get to see what the first floor looks like.
Leave a like and subscribe for part 2.